But just so nobody wastes their time watching this video thinking this is a review about this Chicago Electric compound sliding miter saw. It isn't. It's strictly about using it to cut crown molding, and that's all. But one of the things I like about this saw is, well, number one, I'm not a professional contractor. I'm just a guy trying to remodel my old home. But I didn't want to spend a lot of money on. You can spend several $100s up to thousands of dollars on one of these sliding compound miter saws. And after I get through remodeling, I've got a lot of crown molding we're going to be putting up. And also we're putting a lot of laminate flooring up. The old miter saw I had would not cut it, only cut about 5 inches. These are about 7.5 inches wide, these planks. But this will handle that without any problem. Yeah, what I want to do is I want to cut this piece right here. This is the end of the hallway, and it measures. Well, the hallway measures anywhere from 35 1/8 to 36. I mean, it's just not. The old house is it's just very old. Parts of the house are over 100 years old, but I cut this piece right here, this end piece. .35 1/8. But I wanted to cut a full piece down on the end down here. I actually wanted to cut a full piece on both ends, but I messed my first piece up, so I don't want to waste anything, so I fixed it. But this is my first piece that I cut. Using one of the other 4 corners. Yeah, to cut this piece, the saw makes it really easy. It's learning how to do crown molding has been really easy for me with this saw. I watched the video. I'll put a link to it down below, where a guy who really knows what he's doing is where I learned. But you need to set the bevel angle at 33.9 degrees. The saw doesn't come with a Dayton at 33.9, so what I did is I marked it. I took my angle finder and I verified my bevel angle was 33.9, and then I marked that. But that particular angle will never change. It always stays the same on both sides of the molding. And then when you're dealing with the angle, you set it at 31.6. That also does not have a Dayton on this. Miter saw. It does not have a Dayton, so, but it would be, here's 30, 31, and in between 31 and 32 degrees would be 31.6. That makes one angle. And then when you want to cut the other side, well, for the left side of the board, you put the molding on the miter saw with the bottom, which is the busy side here. You put that on the bottom. Then when you want to cut the other side, you flip it. You put the bottom up on the top, and then you bring your angle over to 31.6 to cut this side, and that's your board. But the point is not to show somebody how to cut crown molding, because I'm not qualified to do that. For me, I'm just a regular guy, you know. I'm trying to figure out how to cut crown molding. I've got a lot to cut, and I do want it to look pretty nice. So the purpose of the video is basically just to share that this miter saw. I think I paid $95 for it. It does a nice job on crown molding, and I'm using a very sharp, rough cut saw blade, but I am going to be changing out. Right now I was just trying to learn how to do crown molding, and if I tore something up, it wouldn't be a big deal, but I'm going to put this blade on. This 60 teeth fine finish blade to cut. I've only cut 2 pieces. This piece right here was actually my very first crown molding piece that I ever cut. And it does a very, very nice job. But with this saw, when you buy this saw, it does not have a high fence on the back, so you can't put your molding like this to cut it. But with this sliding compound miter saw, you don't need to. You can just lay it flat down on the work piece, on the work area, and move it back and forth along with moving the angle. But I used a square and an angle finder in order to verify and set the angles on the bevel angle, and other than that, that's about all you need, because as I go over there's no detente at 33.9 degrees on the bevel, so you have to set that yourself. But like I say, again, I just verified it with a angle finder. But this is not about this is not a review of the saw. It's strictly my opinion about cutting crown molding with this particular saw. And this is and this saw right here is Chicago Electric 61972 at Harbor Freight with a coupon. I got it for $95. And again, I got a lot of crown molding. We're putting crown molding all throughout the entire house. So I didn't want to fool with having to do all these angles. I found a video online, and again, I'll put a link to it down below. The guy that really knows what he's talking about. But you can just lay your piece flat on your saw plate, and you can cut your bevel angle and your angles in one cut. And it makes it really easy for me, because honestly, I had a pretty difficult time trying to figure out how to cut crown molding. But again, this saw right here from Harbor Freight makes it really easy for me. And I'm not a professional. I'm not going to spend $700,000, $800,000 on a saw that I only use maybe a couple of years, and then maybe take it out and use it once every 7 or 8 months. So this works for me.